Pranav Maharaj.
Namaste. Hmm. থাকলে সুবিধা হয় অবশ্যই যদি আজকে ওই ওকে যদি আগে আসিও ত্রিগুণাত্মিকা So we'll start with our prayers. Sri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Asato ma Sadgamaya Tamaso ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityurma Amritam Gamaya Aviravirmayedhi Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Akhandam Satchidanandam Avang Manasagocharam Atmanam Akhiladharam Asraye Bhishta Siddhai. May we be protected, may we be nourished, may we strive with energy and vigor. May our study be enlightening and not give rise to hostility. Om peace, peace, peace. Lead us to truth and not to untruth. Lead us to enlightenment and not ignorance. Lead us to immortality and not death. Let the self-manifest Atman grow in me. Om peace, peace, peace. I take refuge in the self, the individual, the existence, consciousness, bliss, absolute, beyond the reach of words and thought, and the substratum of all, for the attainment of any cherished desire. So we are studying Vedantasara, and we are in the second section, that is superimposition. The simple idea is Brahman alone is real and all else are illusory, as Sri Ramakrishna says in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. Almost in every page that we find. But the thing is, what happens when we behave in this world? We see variety, we see so many things, and we cannot deny it. We cannot deny the diversity. So the philosophy faces this. how to explain that that same truth is being displayed, is being projected as many. Same truth is being projected like this. So that Brahman, which is Nitya, Shuddha, Buddha, Mukta Swabhava, that means it is eternal, it is purest of pure, it is enlightened, and it is free. That same Brahman looks like bound, like we also feel like we are bound. So this is the problem. That which is not bound looks like bound. That which is pure looks like impure. That which is enlightened looks like it is bound. It is under ignorance. So this contradiction is to be solved. This is the challenge. And this challenge is met very nicely in Vedantasara. And we are in that section, superimposition, how the variety is superimposed on what is not various. That means what is unity. Now we can see so many things, like movie. There, it's a fiction, we know. But we see many. And even fire is burning something. Even we see people are in distress. So many people are killed. Say like, suppose some devastating earthquake or flooding. There we see so many people are dying and people weep also. If it is tragedy, people weep also. And if it is comedy, people laugh. So what is happening? There is one screen. On that screen, some projection of light is being projected, and we see many. We cannot deny. Is it only that? No. In our dream also, same thing happens. Our eyes are closed, but we see so many things. And we cannot deny. Suppose someone was chased by a tiger and he wakes up. Still his heart is palpitating. That means we cannot deny, but there is not real existence. Is it non-existence? Not at all. Because then why the palpitation would start? So there be something. So when it started, we do not know. That's why it's called ajnana, ignorance. When it started, nobody knows. See, when the movie starts, if you go outside, then only you can compare. But in the movie, we say after 20 years, and the boy becomes a young man. And we believe it is right. So this ignorance is very funny thing. When this time and space, time and causation starts, nobody knows. That's why it is called anadi. When it started, nobody knows. When your dream starts, you cannot say in dream. When you wake up, then you can compare. So you are no more in dream. While dreaming, you cannot say. So it is not a false, a total baseless. No, it has something. That's why anirvachaniya. It cannot be explained. But it is trigunatmika. We'll deal this trigunatmika. Guna means, in Sanskrit there are two kinds of meaning. One is, guna means qualities. So that's why sometimes people translate it as qualities. But actually it is not. It is, in Bengali we have, if there is a rope, then there is smaller threads are there. It is intertwined. So those are called guna. So this triguna means that's binding force. That binding power, how it binds, will deal this today. And trigunatmika, so trigunatmika, and then bhavarupam, something is there. It is, if somebody tells a lie, and we believe it. So it is not that it is totally absent. And then jnana virodhi. But what happens when we know? Say, like, if you see a snake on a rope, and if you bring light, then that snake disappears. But this is not only one example. There are many examples. When you dream, while dreaming you see it. But when we wake up, then the dream totally stops. There is no existence of dream, but there may be some memory. But we have another kind of illusion, that is, we see mirage. So it does not disappear. But what happens, that the sense of reality disappears. Though we see, say when you are driving, you can see water at distance. And when you are driving, still you know that there is no water. So sense of reality goes away. So this is ajnana. So let us today, before I forget. So David, we can read from the gospel, say from Complete Works of Swami Vivekananda.
I'm reading from Steps to Realization. Next is mumukshutva, the intense desire to be free. Those of you who've read Edwin Arnold's Light of Asia remember his translation of the first sermon of Buddha, where Buddha says, "Ye suffer from yourselves, none else compels. None other holds you, that ye live and die, and whirl upon the wheel, and hug and kiss its spokes of agony, its tire of tears, its nave of nothingness."
So we were reading about the qualifications of an aspirant. What an aspirant should have, what qualities one should have. So in the beginning, nitya anitya vastu viveka, that means all the time he should be discriminating. Otherwise it will not work. If one thinks this world is real, then this philosophy will not work. So all the time one should think that what is real, what is transient, what is passing away in front of us. See, as of now we are sitting here, but after a certain time it will not be here. So what comes and goes away, that is not real. It is seeming. But there must be something behind this. So that's nitya and anitya vastu. So one should be discriminating all the time. And whatever is real, one should stick to that. And therefore, he should not be tempted to enjoy. So this world, however it is attractive, it gives some promises, and we are happy to enjoy that. So there comes power of discrimination, not to get involved. And then Shamadamadi, Shat Sampatti, that we have, and the 6 divine qualities, and then Mumukshutva. What happens We are bound ourselves, but we think that somebody else is putting us a shackle on us. So that is not the case. That's why one should have that strong desire to get rid of it. We suffer from ye suffer from yourselves. None else compels, none other holds you that ye live and die, and will upon the wheel, and hug and kiss its spoke and agony, its tire of tears, its nave of nothingness. So this realization should come. There should be a time when one is aware that this world can promise a lot, ever running but never reaching, as Swami Vivekananda says. So a time should come when one should grow. So this is the fourth quality, that means nitya, mumukshutva. Yes, go ahead.
All the misery we have is of our own choosing. Such is our nature. The old Chinaman, who having been kept in prison for 60 years, was released on the coronation of a new emperor. He exclaimed when he came out that he could not live. He must go back to his horrible dungeon among the rats and mice. He could not bear the light. So he asked them to kill him or send him back to the prison, and he was sent back. Exactly similar is the condition of all men. We run headlong after all sorts of misery and are unwilling to be freed from them. Every day we run after pleasure, and before we reach it, we find it is gone. It has slipped through our fingers. Still, we do not cease from our mad pursuit, but on and on we go. Blinded fools that we are.
Even children, when they are dreaming, and if mother wakes him up, then he may be upset because he was enjoying his dream. Same thing happens when some blows come to us, and we want to enjoy this world. But actually, what happens? It is our desire to enjoy that binds us. Sukha sangena bandnati jnana sangena chanagha. So we'll dwell on that today. It is like Sri Ramakrishna gave an example, like a person holds a pillar and he says, this pillar is not letting me go. Same thing happens to us. So yes, go ahead.
In some oil mills in India, bullocks are used that go round and round to grind the oil seed. There is a yoke on the bullock's neck. They have a piece of wood protruding from the yoke, and on that is fastened a wisp of straw. The bullock is blindfolded in such a way that it can only look forward, and so it stretches its neck to get at the straw. And in doing so, it pushes the piece of wood out a little further, and it makes another attempt with the same result, and yet another, and so on. It never catches the straw, but goes round and round in the hopes of getting it, and in so doing grinds out the oil. In the same way, you and I, who are born slaves to nature, money, and wealth, wives and children, are always chasing a wisp of straw, a mere chimera, and are going through an innumerable round of lives without obtaining what we seek. The great dream is love, and we are all going to love and be loved. We are all going to be happy and never meet with misery. But the more we go towards happiness, the more it goes away from us. Thus the world is going on. Society goes on, and we, blinded slaves, have to pay for it without knowing. Study your own lives and find out how little of happiness there is in them, and how little in truth you have gained in the course of this wild goose chase of the world.
So we can compare this imagery, we compare with our lives. Then we can find it is the same thing it is happening. We think that after this, then all our struggle will be over and we'll be enjoying. But that never happens. Yeah, go ahead.
Do you remember the story of Solon and Croesus? The king said to the great sage that Asia Minor was a very happy place. And the sage asked him, "Who is the happiest man? I have not seen anyone very happy." "Nonsense," said Croesus. "I am the happiest man in the world." "Wait, sir, till the end of your life. Don't be in a hurry," replied the sage, and went away. In course of time, that king was conquered by the Persians, and they ordered him to be burnt alive. The funeral pyre was prepared, and when poor Croesus saw it, he cried aloud, "Solon, Solon!" On being asked to whom he referred, he told his story, and the Persian emperor was touched and saved his life. Such is the life story of each one of us. Such is the tremendous power of nature over us. It repeatedly kicks us away, but still we pursue it with feverish excitement. We are always hoping against hope. This hope, this chimera maddens us. We are always hoping for happiness.
Yeah, so
There was a
when the same thing happens, so why this is required? Because we are thinking people. If we find some reality in this, then we'll not be attracted to the temptations of this world. And only for them, this study. It's not for everybody. Those who want to enjoy, he'll not listen all these teachings. So, if we are thinking people, we have to find the truth in it. Yes.
There was a great king in ancient India who was once asked 4 questions, of which one was, "What is the most wonderful thing in the world?" "Hope," was the answer. "This is the most wonderful thing. Day and nights we see people dying around us, and yet we think we shall not die. We never think that we shall die or that we shall suffer. Each man thinks that success will be his, hoping against hope, against all odds, against all mathematical reasoning. Nobody is really ever happy here. If a man be wealthy and have plenty to eat, his digestion is out of order and he cannot eat. If a man's digestion be good and he has the digestive power of a cormorant, he has nothing to put into his mouth. If he be rich, he has no children. If he be hungry and poor, he has a whole regiment of children and does not know what to do with them. Why is it so? Because happiness and misery are the obverse and reverse of the same coin. He who takes happiness must take misery also. We all have this foolish idea that we can have happiness without misery. And it has taken such possession of us that we have no control over the senses.
So, the desire to enjoy and the hope against hope, these are the binding forces. And this question was asked to King Yudhishthira by Yaksha. He said, "Ahani ahani bhutani gachanti yama mandiram." So every day we see people are dying, but still one wants to hope that, or he thinks that he will not die. One should think about our final departure from this world. Then only this will work. Otherwise, there is no chance. Now, how we are bound? Let us think about it today. Because that Trigunatmika, what is Trigunatmika? We take teachings from Bhagavad Gita, where Bhagavan says there are three kinds of gunas. Guna means thread, small entwining threads on a rope. So sattvam rajastama iti gunaha prakriti sambhava. In prakriti, there are three gunas. That's why trigunaatmika. So what are those? It is not qualities. It is the binding force. Sattva, rajas and tamas, these gunas, O mighty armed, born of Prakriti, bind fast in the body the indestructible, embodied one. So, one is who is indestructible, he is bound here. We can feel this. Within us, that same Atman resides. But somehow we are bound with this body mind complex. How it is done? It is the work of ignorance. That when truth is hidden by Avarani Shakti, it is hidden and then it is projected, Viksheva Shakti. So this happens because of these three gunas, binding forces. Now, what are those? He elaborates. The one is luminous. Tatra sattvam nirmalatvat prakashakam anamayam. It is luminous and it is less stainless. Why it is less? Because still it is there. Something, it is not absolute. Trigunatmika lives together. As Sri Ramakrishna gave example of three robbers. Three robbers robs a person, and first everything is taken from him, and the tamasic robber wanted to kill him. But Rajasic robber said, why to kill? Because we have taken everything, every possession of him. So let us bind him. So binding force. And the third one says, after a certain time, he comes back and says, oh my God, my good man, you have hurt most probably. Let me release you. And then this is the way. You can go to your home. Then the man acknowledges his help. He says, please come to my house. I want to thank you enough. But he said, no, I cannot come because I am also one of the thieves. So, three gunas are not absolute. It is like one is preponderance, more or less. That is why almost it is stainless. So, tatra sattvam nirmalatvat prakashakam anamayam. Of these sattva, because of its stainlessness, luminous and free from evil, binds, O sinless one, by attachment to happiness and by attachment to knowledge. So, many times we can feel that when we read something and then we are very happy. It is pure joy that we feel. When we meditate, after that also we can feel that joy. Why? Because it is the pure form. That is why it is luminous. Why? The self is percolating through that very thin layer of bondage. That is why we feel that. Sukha sangena bandhati, jnana sangena chari. So that time it binds us with the sense of joy and also sense of knowledge. I know so much. I'm wise enough. All these ideas come. Now, Rajo Ragatmakam Vidhi Trishna Sanga Samudbhavam Tanni Vandati Kaunteya Karma Sangena Dehina. What is the second? Rajas. That means what binds us because of passion. Ragatmakam. Raga means raga dvesh both. Attachment and aversion. Whatever helps me, the same thing After certain time, we may feel that it is not helpful. Then we hate that. So whenever there is attachment, there is aversion also. So rajo ragatmakam vidhi, know for certain. Trishna sanga samudbhama, and it gives us um, trishna. Trishna means to enjoy, to have more and more. So that is trishna sanga. Or nivannati mahabaho karma sangena dehinam. No rajas to be of the nature of passion, giving rise to thirst and attachment. So thirst, hankering. So this is because of rajas. If we eat something very tasty, we want to eat more. If something pleases me, we want that more. So this is trishna sanga. This is also rajasic. But there is another tamasic. What is that? Tamastvagyananjam vidhi mohanam sarvadahinam. That means it is stupefying. It is confusing. It gives us not pure knowledge, but it gives indolence. So, and no tamas to be born of ignorance, stupefying all embodied beings. It binds fast, O descendant, O Bharatas, and by miscomprehension, indolence, and sleep. So we also feel many times we don't want to get up in the morning. It is because of this. So, as of now, we are bound by these three gunas. That's why ajnana. This is the analysis of ajnana, ignorance. Then what happens? Sattva attaches to happiness, rajas to action, and tamas, verily, shrouding discrimination, attaches to miscomprehension, misunderstanding, muddling of thoughts. All these are because of our tamasic guna. So this is, because of that we find this world is a nice place to enjoy. Why these philosophers talk against it all the time? So it is because of our attachment. We can read further. Sattva arises, O descendant of Bharata, predominating over rajas. So how to get rid of it? First we are to get rid of tamas, we are to increase our rajas. And by increasing sattva, rajas also can be overcome. Sattva arises, O descendant of Bharata, predominating over rajas and tamas. Likewise, rajas over sattva and tamas. So, tamas over sattva and rajas. So that's why how to overcome that. Sarvadvareshu dehasmin prakasha upajayate jnanam tada yada vidyat vivriddha sattva. So how we know that it is sattva? When through every sense in this body the light of intelligence shines, when it should be known that sattva is predominant. Similarly, greed, activity, the undertaking of actions, unrest, longing, these arise when rajas is predominant. And darkness, inertness, miscomprehension, delusion, these arise when tamas is predominant. So, we also find these three gunas are working with us. Now, what is the solution? As Sri Ramakrishna also said, that one should go beyond three gunas. And similarly, here also, Bhagavan would say, Bhagavan Sri Krishna said that go beyond three gunas. He said later that gunan etan atityatren dehi deha samudbhavan janma mrityu jara dukkher vimukto amritam ashnute. So one should transcend that. Nistray gunna bhavarjuna, but later Bhagavan said. So, this is the three binding forces that binds us. And you can see, in a movie also we can see that how on the screen things are moving, and that gives the sense of reality. And same thing happens in our lives also. Here also we find that which is not movable, that moves as it were. So it is because of three gunas. You know, like the mirage, we see the trees are moving, but actually it is not moving, it is only seeming. So now, let us go back to our text. We completed up to 41. We have already discussed about. Now how this happens, let us think about a little background. That whatever is happening, whatever we think, it is happening on Brahman, who is one. One means not dual. We cannot say it is one, it is non-dual. Truth alone is real. And whatever we see on that truth, it is multifarious. It can be. Say, one can see the same rope as Jaladhara, or crack on the ground, or so many other things. It's the same stump one can see as policeman. If a thief is there, he'll see a policeman. And a policeman may think that there is a thief standing there. If a lover, he may see that it is beloved that who is standing there. So, truth is one that is stump. But superimposed realities are many. So, here Ishvara, what is Ishvara? What is God? God is also Upahita Chaitanya. There are two kinds of things. One is called Avachedavad. Avachedavad means whatever is being curtailed. And second is Pratibimbavad. Pratibimb means what is reflected. See, sky is reflected on the water. Sky is reflected on water. It looks like it is within water, but sky is never touched. And similarly, we can see something is being obstructed by water. The sky is being obstructed. So that's why Upahita Chaitanya. This is also very important point to understand. That here, whatever he will say from these two standpoints. That Chaitanya is never involved, but it looks like it is involved. Say within us, that consciousness, Chaitanya, is not involved, but somehow we have this sense that it is involved. And it is like Chaitanya is being obstructed by this body-mind complex. So similar, he will say, so Ishvara, who is Ishvara? This aggregate of ignorance associated with Ishvara is known as the causal body on account of its being the cause of all and as the Anandamaya Kosha. So, in our dream also we can find that all the ignorance is merged and we have a sense of enjoyment, bliss. So it is because Ananda Prachuratva, because it is closer to the self. That is why we feel that. So Anandamaya Kosha, the blissful sheep, on account of its being full of bliss and covering like a sheath, it is further known as the cosmic sleep. So same thing as individually we feel, similarly we can have totality. That means one is samashti, one is vyashti. Vyashti means individual and samashti means collective. So individually we feel this. See, in the morning, first we come out of our dreamless state. That state when it is not distinguished, when it is not separated, all merged in one, that's called Mahat. And then gradually we recognize, oh, this is my bed, this is my room, and all these things. So then it is all distinguished. Similarly, we can think about that Supreme Being, what we call God or Ishvara. He also feels that way, that it is Ananda Prachuratvat, because it is collective bliss. But it will not, this ignorance cannot work on it because he is Mayadhish. How? Sri Ramakrishna gave example, wonderful example. He said, snake may have poison, but poison will not harm it. Say, magician shows magic, and we are all fooled, but magician is not fooled. Similarly, Ishvara, though he is also Upahita Chaitanya, because he is also superimposed on the self, on the Supreme Being, that means Brahman, we are also similar. But this puts us in lots of stress and strain and difficulties. It is not that way for God. Why? Because he possesses this Maya. He creates this world out of his Maya. So, like a magician creates his illusion and he fools others, but he is not fooled. Similarly, Ishwarasyam Samashti Akhila Karanatvat, because he is Akhila Karana, he is the cause of everything. All religions say that. So when he creates, the creative mode is called Ishvara. Brahman does not create, neither preserve nor destroys. But when he is in the creative mood, then he creates. Then he is called Ishvara. Creates, preserves and destroys. So it is like as a forest from the standpoint of units that compose it may be designated as a number of trees, and as a reservoir from the same point of view may be spoken of as quantities of water. So also ignorance, when denoting separate units, is spoken of as many. As in such Shruti passage, there is a Shruti passage, Indro Maya bhi Puru Rupa Yati. So he, because of Maya, he creates. As a magician, he creates. And he, like a momentary, it has existence. Similarly, we can see on the screen, though every part is moving because of its rajasic rajas guna, so it is moving all the time, but it gives a sense of stability also. because it comes very quickly. So, this is because of when it is taken together, so he has taken this whole world, and individually we find that this thus is covering and projecting power. We think it is real, but it is not. Atra vyasta samasta vyapitvena veshti samastitvat vyapadesha. What is the translation? Ignorance has been designated as individual and collective on account of its pervading the units and the aggregate. So, in the case of God, it is aggregated. That means all the ignorance. Ignorance means here not ignorance like us. He is the creator of ignorance. He is the possessor of ignorance. He is the Mayadhisha. He is the Lord of Maya. But we are Mayadhina. It is like storyteller, story writer. Story writer knows all the characters. But all the characters does not know the author. So it is like that. So he has the whole knowledge. On that knowledge, on the basis of that knowledge, he creates, say, a story. How a protagonist come and how he fights with a villain. So all this is known because he is the total controller. He has the full knowledge, samashti, aggregate. And individually those characters are under the condition of Maya. That means under that elusive power. Yam veshti nikrishta upadhitaya malina sattva pradhana. The individual ignorance on account of its association with the inferior being is characterized by impure sattva. So sattva also impure, more pure and the purest. That's why the body of an incarnation is called Shuddha Sattva Bhagavati Tanu. Shuddha Sattvic Bhagavati Tanu. And when a person thinks about God, his body mind changes. If you remember, once it happened that a monk came to Aryadaha. So, some people were going to have his darshan. And Haladhari said, what is the use of going there? Because this is the case of flesh and bone. What is the use to go there? Then when Krishna Kishore heard about it, he was so angry that he would not see that gentleman. He would not see his face. He was so upset. Why? Because those who think about God gradually becomes purer and purer. And in the case of Avatara, it is the purest form. That is why Swami Vivekananda praises Sri Ramakrishna as Nirguna Gunamaya. Though you are beyond gunas, but as if you have taken the garb of three gunas. Sometimes he's angry, sometimes he's sleeping also, sometimes he's giving a discourse, wonderful discourse too. Even the Pandits, Vidyasagar, even that Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay, even that Brahma leaders. So it is the play of three gunas, and sometimes he looks like that. That's why Gunamaya, as if he is Guna, but he is Triguna. He is not controlled by three gunas. So this is, now what happens to us? we are bound because of malina sattva pradhan. The individual ignorance on account of its association with the inferior being is characterized by impure sattva. Now, tat etad upahitam chaitanyam alpagyatvam, alpagyatva anishwaratva adi gunakam pragya ituchyate eka ajnana avabhasakatvat. Because we have individual ignorance, and that is why we are covered by it. Though we have a little sense also, like we have some sense of consciousness, we have some similarities, but still it is very limited. Whereas in the case of Ishvara, he has full knowledge. He is the creator, he is the preserver, and he is the destroyer. It is because he is Mayadhisha, whereas we are Mayadhina. We are the character of that stories, and he is the author. So he writes, but sometimes he does not write also. That is Brahman. So here we can find the relationship between Brahman, Ishvara, and Jiva. Jiva is called Prajna. Asya Prajnatvam aspashtopadhitaya anati prakashakatvat. So it is not very illumined. It is called Prajna as it is deficient in illumination on account of its association with dull, limiting adjunct. So adjunct, upadhi, very important. When we come closer to that, say, if someone studies, say, masters, he does masters, or he does some PhD, then he thinks, oh, I am something. So this is called upadhi. Upadhi, what the Shastra says, it is like kakavantam griham. If somebody asked, where is Mr. Tom lives? He said, you know, that crow is flying just below that. Though he has no connection with that crow, but that indicates that just below that. So upadhi has no bearing on the person. But still in vyavahar, in practical life, we see some utility. So here, this jivatva, we identify with jivatva. That is why we feel we are jiva. But actually we are also Brahman. So why it happens? Because it has limiting understanding. That when we see, oh, I know a little. But in the case of God, this is not true. He is all-knowing. We have already covered that. Yaha sarvajnaha sarvavit, who knows everything in general and everything in particular. Everything. That is why Brahmajna knows everything. Whereas individual, he knows a little. That's why alpagyatva, kshudrattva, etc. comes. Now we go to the next 45th. Asya asyapi yam ahamkaradi karanatvat karana shariram ananda prachuratvat koshavad achadakatvat cha anandamaya kosha sarva uparamatvat sushupti eva sushuptihi atayeva sthula shukshma sharira prapanchalaya sthanamiti cha uchyate. We will have the translation because Sanskrit you may not appreciate. The individual ignorance associated with it means jiva. So individual ignorance, because it is small. Say it is like this. Say suppose somebody throws ink on my shirt, so it is spoilt. So individual is associated with, though I can take out and put another shirt, but we are disturbed. So similarly, it happens with our body-mind complex. Associated with it is also known as the causal body, on account of its being the cause of egoism, etc. So we can feel it in our deep sleep that we enjoy a little, but after that enjoyment we come out. We say Sukhamaham aswapsam na kinchit avedisham. I slept very happily. I did not know anything. That means there was no object present in that sleep. So known as the causal body on account of its being the cause of egoism. So like Karana Sharira. Karana Sharira means from that this physical, that means gross body, and subtle body, Sukshma Sharira also comes. That's the cause. Like this house was built. How it was built? One day a person came here and said, oh, it's a nice piece of land. Let there be a house. So this thought is the cause. And then he hired an architect. He made some sketches, and the masons came, and house is built. So this is gross, but behind this is subtle. The thought is subtle, what the architect did. Even the thought, the principles that is working here, like why it is not falling? Because there is some principle. So, and behind that is the causal. So, this gross body, subtle body, comes from that Karana Sharira. That's why it's called Karana Sharira. And it raised from egoism. And as the blissful sheath, that means Ananda Maya Kosha. So in one go everything is taken. That's why one should be very alert about it. So Sharira, three Sharira, that means Karana Sharira, subtle, then a causal Sharira, a causal body, subtle body, and gross body. Similarly, he is taking that blissful sheath, and then Anandamaya Kosha, then Vijnanamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, and then vital forces, that means that Pranamaya Kosha, and then gross body is that gross body, that means Annamaya Kosha, yes. So all are taken together. So here we find the gross body is full of Anna, but behind that it is vital forces, mind and intellect. Pranamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha and Vijnanamaya Kosha. So here he says about the Anandamaya Kosha. Because why it is Anandamaya? Ananda Prachuratvat. Because enough Anand is there. So Ananda Prachuratvat Koshavat Achadakatvat. Because it covers. That is why it is Anandamaya Kosha. Anandamaya Kosha. Sarvoparamatvat Sushupti. And then 3 stages. Waking, sleeping and deep sleep. So Sushupti Avastha. Sushupti Atayeva Sthula Shukshma Sharira Prapanchalaya Sthanam iti chauchati. So in that Sthula, Shukshma and Prapanchalaya Sthanam, Karana Prapanchalaya Sthanam. So the individual ignorance associated with it is also known as the causal body on account of its being the cause of egoism, etc., and as the blissful sheath because it is full of bliss and covers like a sheath. So Anandamaya Purush, what is this? So individual self, the innermost is a blissful sheath, and it is the cause of gross and subtle body. That is why it is called Karana Sharira. So it is further known as dreamless sleep, since into it everything is dissolved, and for this reason it is also designated as the state of dissolution of the gross and subtle phenomena. So what happens? If you go to sleep tonight, in the beginning you may dream, but later you may transcend to dreamless state. So what happens that time? All your gross, subtle merges there. All your Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha merges there. So Anandamaya Kosha. And the same, the next morning, it will come up again. And again it will go back. So this way we travel every day. So I think enough for today. Any question? Yeah.
All of us are Jiva, Ishvara, and Brahman.
In reality, you are Brahman. When you wear the shirt or garment of individual self, then you are Jivatma. When you remove the individual adjuncts, then you are Atma. And Atma and Paramatma are identical. Means there is no difference. Let me say it again. As of now, you are called Jivatma. Jivatma has got cartload of impressions. What are those impressions? I have this body, I have this mind, I know little. All these are adjuncts. If you can remove this, then you are Atman, no more Jivatma. And Atma, Atman, and Paramatman are identical, the same. So you are at the same time Supreme Being, that means Brahman, or Atma, Paramatma or Atma. In simple word, in Sri Ramakrishna's term, he says, Pasha Baddho Jeev, Pasha Mukta Shiv. That means when it is under the binding forces, the same Shiva is Jiva. Pash Baddha Jeev. Pash Mukta means free from bondage, is Shiva. So this whole philosophy, he compressed it in two lines. Pash Baddho Jeev, Pash Mukta Shiv. So bound by fetters is Jiva. And removed from all the bondages, bondage here means adjuncts. We have no bearing with our adjuncts, but somehow we think that it is. So if we can get rid of these impressions, we are Shiva. Right? Yes.
If one needed to get rid of all the impressions, then Shiva, does that mean that that person is in samadhi, liberated? And how does that compare to the state of Jiva itself? They are both.
Jivan Mukta is, that's a different, so let us take your case. As of now, you are Mr. Rajan, right? Rajan. And you go to sleep tonight. Do you remember your name? How tall you are? How you look like? You forget everything. This is only temporary. So this is called upadhi. In your sleep, you get another kind of upadhi. But that also goes in your dreamless state. You do everything every day. Every day you are out of this. Just think about it, that if we can willfully get rid of this. As of now, it is so distinct that we cannot get rid of it. As Sri Ramakrishna said today, like a earthen pot is kept in water. So though water everywhere, but its earthen pot is there. And at the end he said, but what happens when there is no earthen pot? So that is samadhi. And you go to that state, but only a little ignorance is there in your deep sleep. If by the grace of God, if by the grace of your Guru, and if your self-effort, one day you can get rid of it, then you are Shiva. So this Shivatta is not imposed on you. Rather, Jivatva is imposed on you. Hope I am clear? Yeah? Anything else, David? Okay, we see our prayer. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. Janma, any question? আজকে আছে হ্যাঁ okay yes
We'll look forward to seeing you.
pardon okay
I look forward to seeing you tomorrow, preparing the worship articles. Thank you.
okay okay good and this is karma yoga that cleanses our heart. It is helpful. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Swami. Jai Ma.
Jai Ma.
Jai Ma.
Jai Ma.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Namaste. কে সুতীর্থ বাবু নাকি
হ্যাঁ
okay
হ্যাঁ
thank you. Jai Ma.
Thank you.